Welcome, fellow Tarnished, to Dark Fantasy Games, a channel dedicated to Elden Ring and the dark fantasy genre. In this video I'm going to be sharing a few tips with you that I use to defeat the dragon boss Decaying Ekzykes. This boss can be found in the southwest area of Caelid. There is a site of grace right next to where you'll find this dragon, and this is the Caelid Highway South. It doesn't matter if it's going to take you a few tries to take out this boss, because you do have the option to be able to spawn there straight after dying. Now, this boss does a lot of scarlet rot attacks, which is a pretty devastating effect in this game. So if you've got armor or clothing that gives you higher immunity, that might help. I decided to use Lutal the Headless summon because he seems to be almost immune to scarlet rot. I then used a flask of wondrous physic to give me a little bit of extra defense, which gives me a shield. Unfortunately, that didn't last very long because this boss did get me with his tail swing, which is one of the attacks that you've really got to watch out for. And every time you get hit, you're going to start getting a scarlet rot build-up bar on the screen as well. The idea here for this boss, and what worked for me, is to try and avoid all those area of effect attacks that he does where he's using the scarlet rot, which is like this orange mist. He's going to fire a large area around you, and he's also going to fire out of his mouth like that. Now that nearly killed me. If the rock wasn't there, I think I would have died there. So that scarlet rot is horrible. Now I'm just lucky that I have an incantation called Flame Cleanse Me, which will remove that effect. I do have a video on where to find that, so you can see that at the end of the video. But what we're doing is we're continuing to avoid those attacks that he's doing with the scarlet rot that he's breathing out his mouth, and we're trying to stay around the back of him as much as we can. Now this is where Torrent really comes in handy for this. We're attacking his wing and we're trying to attack his feet, pretty much. That's what we're going for. Trying to avoid those scarlet rot attacks as much as we can. Now sometimes he will do stamping attacks, and as I mentioned, the spinning of his tail, which in their own right can sometimes do a lot of damage and be quite devastating. But sometimes Torrent will take a little bit of the damage depending on where the dragon lands. So this is going to be about patience to a certain extent. It does seem to be weak to fire, so if you have any attacks that you can use that has fire on it, like I'm using my Flame of the Redmanes, which has been doing me pretty well so far throughout the game. As you can see, this is doing a fair bit of damage to him here. Way more than what my standard attacks on my sword were doing. But to be honest with you, getting in there, getting a few attacks and then moving before he does this scarlet rot area of effect attack. As you can see, it just reaches so far out. You get caught in that, it's game over. And this breath attack he does with the scarlet rot, if that hits you dead on, it is pretty much a one shot. To a certain extent, it's really horrible, that attack. Lutal the Headless is taking a little bit of the attention away from me to a certain extent, and between us we're just going at it at the dragon's legs. And to be honest with you, towards the end this boss fight got quite intense, so we're hacking away at the legs here, trying to move out the way, give us some space. But when he starts screaming like this, it does mean he's going to be doing one of his main attacks. So you do sometimes get a little bit of a heads up. So that is something to listen out for when you hear it roar. Try and get round the back of it if you can. We're trying to get round the back here, but it did catch us there with it and we nearly died. So he kind of span around with it there, and the scarlet rot meter is almost full, so we're able to use Flame Cleanse Me again to remove that effect. Here I didn't realise that Torrent had actually died, so we had to use one of our flasks of Crimson Tears to be able to revive him and then get back in the fight. And all we're doing here really again is just trying to attack the wings, trying to attack the legs, but also having some distance. So I think really the majority of this battle is more about patience, you know, because it is kind of all over the place to a certain extent. That was a tail swing he just hit me with there. Again, depends on how much health you got, could one-shot you. So if you're trying to take this on and you keep dying, it may mean you may need to go off and just level up a little bit or try a few different things. but I found that this was kind of the best strategy for me to be able to defeat this boss, Decaying Ekzykes. And as you can see here, we're just about to get the finishing blow in, and we managed to defeat him. That was pretty full on for me. That was quite a hefty battle, to be honest with you. Not only did we get 38,000 runes from that, we also got the dragon hearts that we can use at the Cathedral of the Dragon Communion. So hopefully this video and some of these tips have helped you. If they have, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you are struggling with this boss, let me know in the comments below and we'll try and help the best we can. So watch this space for more Elden Ring. And before I go, I'd just like to say, may you be blessed with a curseless journey.